here at Denver 7 Studios. We're talking with Nathan Dorr, who's the Curator of Education for the Wyoming State Museum. Thank you for making the trek down here to talk with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I can't wait to go into it. So I know before we even sat down, you were telling me that the museum is over 100 years old. Now, I don't know why that strikes me as odd, but it seems like a long time for any museum, state museum, to sort of be around, right?
Certainly, yeah, it is. And then we are definitely over 100 years old. We actually became a museum 5 years after Wyoming became a state, so back in 1895. So we're just hitting our 122nd anniversary as a museum. And over the past 122 years, we've collected nearly 80,000 artifacts that help us tell the story of Wyoming and the Rocky Mountain West. And those include everything from prehistoric all the way up through present.
I find that fascinating too, because it's one of those things where 5 years after you guys became a state, you guys were on top of this. You realized we want to keep the history alive. We want to maintain a line of education for people to understand where we came from and what has happened. And you literally take it back to prehistoric times.
We do, yes, yeah.
So what kind of things have you gathered over all these years?
Oh my gosh, anything you can imagine. It's, you know, and not working in collections, I only get the tip of the iceberg and kind of some of the really exciting things or unique things, but some great dinosaur specimens, some fun ones. We have a mummy finger, and we talk about going on family vacations and buying souvenirs. Well, you know, turn of the century, a souvenir that a family bought on their trip to Egypt was a mummy finger.
Oh my gosh.
So just some really amazing things, as well as the things that just are so meaningful. And to me, that's the really important thing about museums is it's more than a collection of artifacts. Those artifacts help us to tell a story. The mansion does a tremendous job of interpreting the mansion to that entire time period. So one room might represent when the mansion was completed, but you walk down the hall and see a room that represents the mansion in the 1970s. So it's a fun exploration of time as well.
I think that's important because you are the curator of education, and you were saying that, you know, a lot of times your biggest job is talking to little people about what has happened, what the state of Wyoming is all about. But that education is something that you trace so far back and you keep so alive well into the future. Why is that such a big emphasis for you guys?
Well, it's really important because, you know, we're in a way, I'm looking at it as future museum visitors. That's an important piece because museums, you know, rely on those visitors and to get students excited, you know, because quite honestly, and I don't know if I should admit this, but as a school student, history was my least favorite subject. And so I never would have guessed
neither would I.
that now I would be, you know, working in a museum teaching history. And so that's a pretty significant thing for me, but getting them excited, getting students excited about history and interested in kind of the preservation of that.
One reason history wasn't one of your favorite subjects is because, you know, reading things in a book is just not as much fun as walking through the hallways and through the rooms and through the doors of places that existed. Real life people in the books actually lived.
Right, yeah, they all come to life.
And they do come to life, which is fun. I think that's the other thing about, strikes me as so interesting about your museum is that you are not only bringing Wyoming to life, but you're letting them see it for so long a period of time. Another great thing, if you're going to go to Wyoming, you've got parks, you've got places like that to go to, that the state has made such a great effort to keep nice and pristine and enjoyable for so many people. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So conveniently located just off the intersection of I-25 and I-80 between Cheyenne and Laramie. We've got a stunning state park, Kurt Gowdy State Park, which is home to some tremendous outdoor opportunities, wildlife viewing, wildflowers, great this time of year, hiking, bike riding. Mountain biking is huge and a great draw for Kurt Gowdy State Park. They've got over 35 miles of trails to explore and get out there and discover, 3 reservoirs. So it's a tremendous opportunity to get outside and have some fun in Wyoming as well.
Well, Nathan, thanks so much for coming down. Your trafficless trip from Wyoming. Say that fast 3 times.
I'll try. I'm not here.
That was fun. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
Well. Thank you so much.